Welcome back to another episode of the Cyber Queens podcast. We are so happy to have you. We are your hosts, Maril, Erica, and Amber. So today we are talking about a super fun topic. I love this topic personally because everyone in the cyber world asks each other basically two questions. Where do you work? We want to know what org you work for, and what cons are you going to be at this year? Because con season is starting at the end of April, kicking off with the big one, RSA. So, we're going to talk about all things con, all things why we go to cons, why you should go to cons, things you can do at cons, our favorite cons, and getting into cons without paying for them, because who's got $2,400 to go to DEF CON?
Right.
Not everybody. So, you guys, why do you like attending? Oh, well, we were just saying, why do you like attending cons? Have you attended any? What was the value? What did you personally gain, etc.?
Yeah. So I've attended a few cons. I'm not cool enough to have attended all of them yet. I'm working on getting out there, guys. No, I went to RSA, I think it was last year, dressed up like a superhero. So that was very interesting. I think it's better to do that with a group of friends because it gets really weird after a while. I actually had one of the Uber drivers when he picked me up was like, "Oh my gosh, you're famous. Can I get a picture?" And I was like, "I'm not famous like at all." Like, and even, I think it's just because I was like literally dressed like a suit, like full on superhero. Yeah. But no, I love going to cons. I think, the few that I've been to, it's a great chance to network with everyone, and then meet a bunch of people that you don't know. So that's been awesome. I've met a lot of new people. I think from RSA alone, I have like probably 20 or 30 new folks that I've met in the industry that I now follow and watch their content, read their blogs every single day. And it helps a lot. So I think it's a lot of value there. Networking, of course.
Yeah, networking.
What, Erica? Erica looks
like Erica's
drops some knowledge on everyone, including me first.
Uh-oh. I'm scared.
I have some stories, but I'll just tell you, I've been going to conferences since 2012. Since coming into the industry, Black Hat has been Black Hat DEF CON has been the most time. That's the conference that I've attended the most. I've done regional ones. I'm from Illinois, so in Chicago and now on the West Coast, but all over the country. But Black Hat back in the day, 10 years ago in this industry was very interesting. And it is my favorite conference for one, because I never buy a ticket and I LobbyCon, and we'll talk about what LobbyCon is. And if I do, it's provided by a company or I get it from some other vendor. But I was on the reseller side back in 2012. And let me just say that people were ending up in places, AKA customers, were ending up in places called the Bunny Ranch and the strip clubs on companies' dollars, not on their own. I don't know that still goes on today. I haven't been to Black Hat for 2 years, but it's definitely an interesting time. And Rapid 7 has the best after parties at Black Hat. Just saying.
Boom. The Rapid 7 party is the dopest party at Black Hat. Skip all the other ones and just go there. But caveat to get your ticket to the RSA part or to the Rapid 7 party, you have to be able to go to their booth inside the con. So you either have to have someone social engineer you one, or you got to pay for the ticket. But I LobbyConned Black Hat DEF CON last year as well, and I got tons of value out of it regardless. So it was interesting. But my first exposure to cons, actually, I started working in InfoSec 2019, right? And that was as a risk person who doesn't get to go to cons. And then I became the hacker in like September, October. And then I was getting ready to go to Wild West Hackin' Fest, Way West, in 2020. And of course, all those things got canceled. So I was super sad that I wasn't getting to go and like meet my people. And it was all postponed, but that's okay. It was all right. But I have a question. When you guys got to the cyber world and you started like expressing interest in going to cons, did people kind of hit you with the horror stories? Did people hit you with like you got to be careful going to cons as like a woman? I'm like, what? Why? They're like, oh, it gets bad. I'm like, what does that mean?
Well,
like someone told me to find a buddy. Someone told me to find a buddy and walk around the con with my buddy at all times. I was like,
see, I was told never to be alone at the Black Hat DEF CON, and everybody tried to scare the crap out of me about all the hackers that go to DEF CON and don't have a phone on you, don't do this. And all of that is true. Like, we could talk about that, but they're going to steal your identity and they're going to have an RFID chip or some sort of RFID on you and bring a
Oh,
ghost
Lord.
phone. And I'm like, that is kind of true, but you know, I have nothing for them to steal. You know,
Oh,
I'm
Lord.
sure they could, but that was like what they scared me with the most was the Black Hat DEF CON. Oh, be careful. You're totally gonna get everything stolen from you. And I'm like, these
Okay.
guys are after not after me, they're after something bigger. Okay. Leave me alone.
Yeah.
And that's
I'm
how
so
Erica
glad
just
that-
became #1 target this year. Be
No,
careful, Erica. I got
I'm
you.
Right.
I'm so glad that like the thing people warned you about was like people stealing your data by the because a lot of people attend Black Hat. So for people who don't know, especially those of us who are going to be new to cyber, the people we're hoping to reach, although we end up reaching more of our cyber people anyway. Black Hat and DEF CON are gigantic conventions, like 35,000 attendees each, and they happen back to back in Vegas every summer, along with some other one-day cons sprinkled in the middle, like B-Sides Las Vegas and the Diana Initiative, which is 2-day con for women specifically. It's a women-oriented convention. So we call all of that together Hacker Summer Camp. So traditionally, Black Hat and DEF CON have been hacker conventions, but a lot of other people from other verticals in the industry attend because they're just so big. It's like you just meet, everybody goes. It's like the big party of the year. So you will meet somebody, even if you're not a hacker, you can still totally go to Black Hat and DEF CON. But yeah, I'm glad they warned you about like us stealing your data and stuff. Like, I don't know of anyone who's just dropping pineapples throughout the con and like hoping someone logs into it.
Well, they did tell me to not be alone, especially with any men. Sorry, guys.
That's what I was told. I'm sorry. That's what I was told too. And I was honestly really sad and really freaked out. I was like, oh no, like, is it that bad? Is it blatantly just like running around like women are afraid to go to the con by themselves? But like, I started with some smaller, more intimate cons and I didn't really see that. And so when I went to Black Hat, maybe it would have hit me right in the face. I mean, misogyny hit me in the face, but that's totally different than me feeling unsafe. And I got to say, I didn't see any of that anywhere. So I don't know where it is, but I just got to say, don't let people scare you. If you want to go to a big con, like, don't let people scare you. You can always come find an ally, come find another chick, introduce yourself, and you guys can pal around to talks and booths and stuff. But don't let people scare you because they are still out there scaring each other. And I don't know why we do that as women. Like, why are we?
Well,
I was going to ask where it came from for you guys.
Well,
my boss.
If you're out at the clubs and you're going to the after parties and you're leaving late, I could see maybe that could be anybody could target you. But I'm always with a group. Even if I go by myself, I know so many people from going to conferences, which is one of the benefits. But where it came from for me, Amber, before I interrupted you, was people in the industry, like my hacker buddies, my technical guys, all of them. It was.
I was going to say, is it more male or female audiences that are telling you?
Male for me.
I got it from women. Women were telling me this gets really bad, and I'm like, wow, that's really weird. But I have worked in male-dominated industries my whole life. I used to be in the military, so I'm like, that doesn't really intimidate me. Guys want to come at me? Fine. Like, I got plenty of attitude to dish you back, but I get that not every chick is like that. But I just gotta say, stop creating barriers of fear for each other. Like, stop just discouraging fellow women from going. That's why we don't have a big women presence at all. And if you are out there being toxic at cons, stop it.
And just don't leave your drink alone. Like, carry it with you. Don't take a drink from anybody. Like, this is the smart stuff.
Don't anyone else buy your drinks. Be smart out there.
Just like don't go in a dark alley with anybody. I mean, come on.
Because I gotta say, the value you can get from cons is exponential. Like, I really noticed my career start to take off, and like, you know how everyone's like, oh my gosh, you started making all this professional progress so quickly. How did you do it? I'm like, I went to cons and introduced myself to people. Like, I'm pretty okay, like online, like when you see me do my Maril minutes or whatever, but when you get to me in person, it is a whole different energy. It's like, I'm so happy to see you. Like, tell me all about what you do. I want to tell you all about what I do. And I'm an idiot and I'm here to learn and stuff. And it was great. So
that's the best.
Exponential.
I love that. No, it's true. It's like LinkedIn if it were in real life, you know, except somehow more fun because you get to be even more yourself. So I love con. I love the few that I've been to.
I don't know.
But I was definitely warned about them. I was warned for different reasons. I was warned, like, okay, so back in the day, and I bet he's watching, but Terrence worked with me at a SOC. And I remember like asking like, oh, is it worth it? Should I go here? Should I go there? And he was like, sure. Like, and he mentioned that, right? I think he mentioned, don't correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, Terrence, because I know you probably will. It's going to distract me. But I think he mentioned something about having like a burner phone or, just like making sure that you're not just being stupid, and at the time I was like, I'm, a young, new, dumb analyst. Woo, like everything's so fun. And I can't wait to go there. And he's like, you need to be careful because there are real threats there. Right. And I'm like, okay, that's true. But then, it was like, there was also a lot of like, I don't know, like RSA is another one, right? Where so many folks last year were like, it's not worth going. It's just one big vendor fair. Like all it is vendors. There's no like clients that are going this year and all this stuff. And I was like, it's gonna be fine. And I got there and I was like, oh my God, it is literally only vendors here. Like it's insane. So a few customers here and there, but I guess it all depends on like what you're going for, right? Because if you're not looking for like a product spiel or something like that, maybe RSA is not your choice. Maybe go to the other ones. I think B-Sides is great. I've yet to go this year. I was supposed to speak at one of them. Ended up not doing that just because I feel like B-Sides is so specific in what it's delivering.
So much value.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Right. And so there's a lot of like different, like we were asked to go and talk about like Teach Kids Tech. And I'm like, I don't know if this is the right like audience for this discussion. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's about really understanding. And we should put that in the comments, or not in the comments, but in the notes afterwards of like a theme, right? And a synopsis of what you should look for in each conference. So people get to do it, which one they're going to go to. Yeah.
I got you on the notes.
Perfect. Sorry. There's definitely audiences for each one. Like there's definitely like hacker cons and like CISO cons. And like if you're an engineer, like more technical oriented cons where like they're dropping a lot of technical knowledge and like showing you how to implement things and doing deep dives on case studies and stuff. So definitely know the audience for the con that you're attending. Like don't just listen to what it's like, attend ShmooCon, attend TurbyCon, attend Black Hat, attend DEF CON. You're like, what do I do? Right. Like just look into them a little bit and figure out who their audience is and why people attend. Like I attend a lot of hacker cons because I'm a hacker, but Erica and Amber might not so much. They might attend more business end of things like RSA, like Black Hat, DEF CON, which again is so big that like everyone gets value out of it. B-Sides are so great because they're little one day. They're not really cons. They're like summits. They're not like meetups. They're like more than a meetup because there's official talks and they have speakers fly in, and like the B-Sides like are so much great, dense tribal knowledge and such a small group of attendees that you get some great intimate networking, like really genuine relationships come out of B-Sides. Yeah. So I recommend if you're scared to do a big con, start off with a small B-Sides in your area. You can look it up. They have them all over the country. They are fantastic.
Yeah.
Uniting Women in Cyber in DC. I missed it last year. We're all going this year. I don't care what anybody says. I couldn't get the time off because I had.
No, you couldn't get a flight. You couldn't get a flight either.
Well, I couldn't get out because the weather is stupid in Denver. But for my future employer, if you're watching this episode, I will be at that conference this year. So you know,
Erica needs time off in September.
I do, but I like this year, I'm going to do a lot of the conferences because the last couple of years, the companies that I've worked for, since I don't live in the region that the conferences have happened at, like Vegas or RSA, I have to bring 5 customers, set up 5 meetings with executives, and that's fine. But I never go inside the conferences. I lobby con, which, is not buying a ticket. They just literally have to pay for my flight and hotel. But I'm going to be doing that on my dollar this year because then if I go, here's the other thing that happens to women. You're the booth babe a lot of the times. And it's so, so degrading. But that's what marketing and, all those people do. I'm not going to go sit at the booth. I'm sorry. I'm going to go wander around and talk to people because I have made some of my best friends and biggest opportunities out of conferences.
And then when you are wandering around, they're like, who let you out of the booth? Do they know you're missing? Are they missing you?
Like, the question.
Back in the day,
are you looking for the coffee stand? Are you getting people coffee?
Back in the day at Black Hat, companies used to hire like those models that like the Miller Lite Girl type of models and stick them at the booth. And they realized, oh my gosh, they can't pick it up in the 4 hours that we had them stand there because that's not what they're supposed to do. They're supposed to look pretty. And that is totally misogynistic. A lot of companies don't do that, but they now do it with the female employees. So they're using us a lot of the times for that. But yeah, they ask me, aren't you supposed to be at the booth? And I'm like, yeah, aren't you? Go look at it.
Aren't you?
You've all heard the pink suit story, so I won't tell it again. But yeah,
tell it again.
Stuff like that does still happen. No, like I was just walking. It's Vegas, so I wore my hot pink power suit, and some guy stopped me and didn't believe that I was a red teamer. He made me prove it to him, and then we had a little opportunity for improvement conversation where I adjusted his mindset for him on not to assume what people are just because of how they look. So yeah,
love that.
So you'll run into that some, and again, it's a big con. It's one of the bigger cons. It is a Vegas con, so it's going to get a little showy, a little, like that. No, they're not all like that. There are, again, smaller ones that are great. One of the first cons I ever attended back after the pandemic was Wild West Hackin' Fest eventually. And it was also the first one I ever spoke at. Fun fact, back in the day. Maril didn't speak about technical topics. Maril spoke at HackerCons teaching hackers how to be better at social media.
There you
That
go.
was my first in.
There you go.
So if you're trying to get into speaking, because that got me a free ticket, right? If you're trying to get into speaking, sometimes you're not always going to rely on like your cyber vertical or your technical vertical. Sometimes you're just going to talk about something else that you bring that the technical people could benefit to learn from. And like, it was a really attended talk. I had like a really full room, and I was like, you guys can catch this on the replay if there's like a technical talk on one of the other tracks you want to go catch or something. But like, a lot of people were curious. So, lean into your strengths. Don't be afraid. But it was great. I remember I had to bring my children with me. So my children were running around Wild West Hackin' Fest with me, being the little mascots of the con. Because I have childcare. I'm a single mom. So I was taking a training. I was taking an actually like breaching the cloud training that I had to be there for. And I was like, the kids got to come with me.
There you go.
That's awesome.
Power move right there.
It was great. Okay, so LobbyCon, ladies, what is it? Define it for the audience.
I'll let Erica do that one.
Do it.
LobbyCon is, so you go to a conference, you show up, you don't have a ticket, and literally you hang out or walk around in the lobby or like the convention center that, for like example, Vegas is, it's in a huge area. You walk through the hotels, the hallways, and you literally station yourself and walk up to people and meet people in the lobby, catch them on their way out of the conference. And it really is what it says, LobbyCon. You just chill. Like I sit there and I just watch people. I people watch, and I can usually tell who's a customer and who's a vendor because I look at their name tags. But if they don't have name tags, I just walk up to people and talk to them, start a conversation that has nothing to do with cyber. And that's what LobbyCon for me is.
Yeah. LobbyCon is literally just hanging out in and around the area of the actual con without going inside. So you can't go to the vendor booths. You can't attend any of the technical talks hosted inside where the tracks are. But I actually ran into a guy at Black Hat, like day 3 of Black Hat, who had been doing so much outside of the actual con, he hadn't made it inside yet. Like he didn't even use his ticket. And I'm like, this is what I'm saying. Like it's so big that like I LobbyCon that whole, all of Hacker Summer Camp. And I still went to the party, still went to meetups, still ran into friends, still set up meetings, still met a ton of cool folks. And they record all those talks. I'm like, I can just catch those talks later.
Yeah. And a lot of companies are doing that too, right? So like a lot of companies so Erica and I don't remember if back in the day ForcePoint did that or not, but I know that a couple of my previous employers have done that where they're like, we're not even gonna, because I asked if I'm like, I'm going, this is so fun. Do I get in? And they're like, no, we're going to go and have like a little bar that's like in a restaurant down the street from where it's happening. I'm like, oh, okay.
No, ForcePoint had large booths when I worked there. Their booths were awesome. I have pictures of myself, and I have a T-shirt that I'll have to find it and remember what it said. But on the back, it had the ForcePoint logo, and then on the front, I think it said "All In," and I was wearing this bright green T-shirt with skinny jeans and high top shoes, and I was walking around with the ForcePoint logo on the back, and on the front it said "All In." I cannot tell you how much attention I got because I was super lean when I was there. I think that was 2019. Yeah. I was really lean and my shoulders were like popping because it was like really tight. And I had like these skinny jeans on.
I was so strong. Around. I just didn't know which direction.
Abercrombie fit.
I love it.
I'm like walking around and people are like, and my hair was it was a lot longer back then. And it was like platinum blonde. People are like, who are you?
Yeah.
That was a very good day for me.
Excellent. Yeah. So that's how you market yourself at a con. If you want people to come to you, make yourself a bright green beacon of blondness. Great strategy. Okay. So not everybody can afford to attend cons, right? Cons are expensive. Like I love cyber cons because again, I saw so much professional progress. You can gain a lot of knowledge. You can take specific trainings. They only offer certain places on site, but they're expensive. Like cheap ones are like $300 to $500 and the expensive ones are almost $3,000.
Right.
I think a lot of us are at the point now in our careers where we work for companies who give us a professional development budget, which we can use to attend conferences and things like that. But I didn't always have that benefit. So I was like literally looking around on how to do it fast, cheap, or free. So what are your guys' favorite strategies for attending cons where you didn't actually pay for the ticket? No money out of your wallet. I can go first if you want.
Yeah, because I haven't had that happen yet. So I'm actually learning with the rest of us today on this.
Okay. I wanted to go to ShmooCon. I wanted to go to ShmooCon last year. And ShmooCon, for those of you who don't know, is an insanely difficult hacker con to get into. Like they release tickets in 3 chalk. They always sell out immediately. Like I had me and both of my interns refreshing habitually trying to get me a freaking ticket to this con, and we couldn't get me one. So I was like, I'm not going to get into this con. I'm willing to pay for it, and I still can't get into it. So it's like, I got to do something more creative. So I went to one of my buddies who helps me pioneer purple teams. His name is Dan DeClaus. He's the CEO of Plextrick. And he was like, you're going to be at Shmoo? I was like, I would love to, but I can't get a ticket. He's like, oh, well, we have an extra vendor badge because as a sponsor of the con, they get a table and they get a number of badges. We didn't have enough people to attend. They were like, you can just have the extra one. I was like, can I really? So I had a vendor friend give me a badge. It said vendor on it, so whatever, but that's okay. I was happy to be affiliated and like hang out at the table and tell people about it and stuff. But I got to attend the con for free. Got an insanely difficult to attain ticket just because I had a great vendor relationship with a friend who owns some company. So, don't always ignore the vendors. The vendors can come in pretty clutch sometimes when
if you are on that side of the customer, absolutely. Absolutely. You can pretty much ask for anything at that point. I think it's a little bit harder for our side. So Erica, I'd be interested to see how you've done it.
So when I get a ticket paid for or for the vendor I'm working for, I usually have to spend 1 hour at the booth talking to customers, meeting them. I have to be a part of any like breakfast or after parties that they have created, or like, if they do like a talk area. So that's fine. Like I will do that. But then the rest of the time they want me walking around and networking because that's the agreed upon. That's what we agree upon, because I walk around, I network, I talk to tons of people. I'm very, very talkative and outgoing, as most of you know. So I'm doing a lot. Never.
No,
I'm doing a lot of that. And I always bring at least, or set up at least 5 meetings with the executives, because they ask you like, hey, we're going to have, a CISO like dining room meeting or some sort of meeting where it's one-to-one. Yeah, with CISOs and our executives. So I would have to schedule, customers to do that. But majority of the time, I'm just there entertaining the customers, especially on the sales side, buying them drinks, taking them to wherever, gambling. I've gambled with a lot of them. Some of my customers in Chicago, I was shooting craps with them and Lil Jon in Vegas once. So yeah, and Flavor Flav, he had the big clock on. We were playing craps, but I do spend a specific amount of time in the conference, and then the rest of it is just networking.
Yeah. I gotta say, even though I lobby-conned last year, I would just hit up a bunch of my friends. So my friend Kat, my friend Tyler, my friend Thomas. I'd be like, where are you guys at? What are you guys doing the rest of the day? They're like, yeah, we're just about to leave. Everyone wants to peel out around like 3 or 4 o'clock and go get ready for parties. No one wants to be at the actual con that long. And like, we're going to go to the happy hour up in this suite at this room. We're going to go to this restaurant over here and hang out with these people. There's a bunch of these really jazzy execs hanging out over here. So like, you can get your pick of social events to go to. Most of the value happens outside of the con. Right. Sometimes, depending.
Yeah. The social events are amazing. Even as a vendor, other vendors will let you in if you're not a direct competitor.
There
you go.
Or just don't tell them you. Also, okay, I gotta say, one way, okay, so we called this episode Conning Your Way into the Con. So I just gotta say, sometimes it's very analog when it comes to con security, right? So what you can do is I would just show up with a clear badge holder. You can generally get a lanyard from registration. Just walk up and say, can I just have a lanyard just as a piece of swag? Because cons are whores for giving out their swag. They want to give it all out. They don't want to go home with any swag left over. By the way, some of the places you can get the best limited edition swag also.
Yes.
And if you just bring your clear badge holder and put a white piece of paper in it, literally, or if you're able to get a look at past badges and somewhat replicate the logo for this year and the style of the badge and put your name on it, even better. This is what we call social engineering right now. And you literally just get the lanyard and you turn it around. They will let you walk in like you have a purpose. Walk in like, I got to get to the booth. I got to attend this. Are you going to go to the 2 o'clock? Yeah, me too. You want to go together? Bring a buddy with you. That's called tailgating. And just literally walk into the con like you freaking belong there with your, because no one turns their badge around. It gets every which way. So I take it off and put it in my pocket because I hate wearing it and I hate having it on in pictures. So literally just stick it in your back pocket and have the lanyard hanging out the back and no one will question you. You can just walk right in to most of them and you'll be just fine. And don't tell them I gave you that advice.
I was going to say, and now everyone knows that we do that.
Well, I like some of my friends in the industry, like they'll trade their badge with me. They'll like, if I don't have a ticket and I say, hey, I want to go in and just see such and such. Cause sometimes I want to go to the vendor booths too. And I love getting swag. They'll give me their badge and I'll just give it back to them later.
Get a badge from a buddy.
And they're like, I'll just say I lost it.
Phone a buddy.
There you go.
See, there's
Phone a friend.
multiple ways to get your way into the con. Last and foremost, and I don't know if Erica or Amber have ever done this. Amber's going to start doing a lot more of it because I'm going to force her as our CEO of Teach Kids Tech, which is our nonprofit we all run and love. Speaking. Most of the cons, especially the smaller ones nowadays, have multiple tracks. So there's like a red team track, a blue team track, an executive track, a new speaker track, where literally if you have no experience speaking, you're brand new to the craft, you just, again, it doesn't have to be technical. You can say how I broke into cyber relying totally on my soft skills. That's a talk that I've given that is not technically oriented at all. So you don't have to be a big beefy engineer to be able to give talks at cons, but they're going to give you a speaker badge. They're not going to pay for you to get there, and they're not going to pay for your hotel room. You still got to do that yourself. But you'll get into the con for free and start making those connections and meeting other speakers and like, oh, this is what I'm speaking on. Oh, I followed you forever. I so admire the work you do. I would love to be friends. Maybe we can collab in the future. Great. Thanks. Bye. And that's how you come out with friendships.
Right.
So
there you go.
Go out there and speak.
That's an easy track for people who love being in the public eye like that. It's so different, you guys. It's so different being in real life. And you know what, Maril? I'm telling you right now, George knows. If George is listening, God, George and everybody who supported me through that whole entire time before I had to give that speech that day, like every possible thing went wrong that could have. It was like noisy. My ADHD is going insane. My anxiety is like crippling. And then all of a sudden they're like, our mics are broke. I'm like, great. They're like, can you talk louder? I'm like, I'd like to cry louder. Can I cry louder? Is that allowed? Like, I hate public speaking probably more than any single human being that's ever going to watch this podcast. I promise you right now. So there are times though, where like, if you're talking about a subject that you know better than anybody else, like your own personal journey, that's a lot different. I think it is hard though for people. Like if I were listening to this and I weren't, if I didn't have Maril running in my personal life every day to like cheer me up and pep me up, I'm telling you right now, I'd listen to that and be like, yep, not doing that. Like that is not an option for me to get in. I don't like people. I don't like, you know what I mean? I don't like talking. I don't like being in the public eye. So are there options for people to get a pass besides the two that we've listed? Like besides the Erica, and the social engineer pretending you're a customer or actually being one, and public speaking?
Sometimes they have sponsors too. You can get sponsored to go to a con. Like the WESIS conference in Denver, they sponsored tons of people to come. At Black Hat, and DEF CON, I don't know if they do that as much, but if you are a speaker, they send you on like a sponsorship. That's another way. I've done speaking before, and it's usually the company I work for, so I would have had a badge anyways. But Amber spoke last week at the Empower the Next event with Safeguard Cyber, and she does amazing. She just hates public speaking, but she's really good at it.
More than literally everyone. Let's not forget that.
All I gotta say is you never know what kind of struggles, like if you're nervous to start public speaking, you never know the struggles someone else has gone through. Like Amber told me, I was like, you're really nervous? And she was like, yes. I was like, but she hears us all the time, but you're so great on TikTok. And it's like, yes, where I can record it and I have and I
can edit it. This podcast is like that's like the boundary, like the borderline. Like I'm like, here's me at this board. The podcast is it. Everything that's more live than this, like look out, So whatever. Here we go.
Yeah. So she was like, I literally usually have someone like slapping me in the face in the corner, like, you've got this, go up there and slay. Yeah. And I'm like, yeah. So one more avenue we haven't explored. So that's 4 now. Another one you can do is volunteer. A lot of cons need a lot of help running this con and getting it off the ground. And cons have usually really big footprints and very small budgets. So if you volunteer to work for a con, to help run registration for 4 hours, day 1 and day 2, to help put something up, break something down, to help man a village. Villages are little specialties inside cons where we have advisors to help you. So there's like usually a career village at every con where they've got people, professionals like me who volunteer their time to sit there and review your resume, review your LinkedIn, help you mock interview, things like that. So villages are really great because cons can be very overwhelming. You can volunteer for a number of jobs to help at a con, and you'll get a t-shirt, which is cool because then you're a part of the con. And also they'll give you time to walk around and actually enjoy it. So that's another great way to give back to your community and also help out and also attend, like you can attend like 20 cons in a single year that way if you want. So that's definitely 5 different avenues of getting into a con if you cannot pay for it.
Boom. Mic drop.
Boom. This episode's done. We'll see you next week. Bye. No.
Next week. The good old Amber exit. Yeah, no, I think that's awesome. And I think, it's really helpful for people that are watching that are just starting out in their tech career too. Cause a lot of times, I mean, I didn't know back when I was an analyst, I was never really offered like a chance to go to these. I just heard about them from all the cool, senior analysts that have been, and they have all the cool stickers and all the cool swag. And I'd be like, what's that? What there's a conference? Like, what is it? What is it? So I'm glad that we're talking about it on here too. And maybe we should do like a follow-up episode or something like that on as we get closer to those conventions to, maybe do some network opportunities for when we all go out there.
Yeah.
Yes.
We will definitely, if any one or multiple of the queens attend a con, we'll definitely put out something on socials and Twitter on where you can find us and stuff. But we are more than happy. Like I usually post up at someone's happy hour, someone's bar event, someone's social networking event. And I just tell people where I am so they can come to me, because I chased people down across Vegas last year and that was exhausting. It was like, I'm at the Mandalay, I'm at the Paris, I'm at the Bellagio. I'm like, this is a lot of Ubers. So, but yeah, we'll do that for sure.
The Cyber Queens, we are going to be at Black Hat because we're going to be doing some things with Danny Wolf in audience first.
Yes.
So you will have a chance to meet us. We'll talk about this once we get closer because it's in the summertime, but that is one that you will see us all at together.
The queens will be there. We will also, I will be making an appearance at RSA for at least one day. I will be going to Black Hat, DEF CON, and Besides LV. I also always volunteer with Diana. So if you're going to go to Diana Initiative, you can meet me there as well. What about you guys? What other cons are you attending this year?
I would like to attend Diana and help volunteer. That sounds amazing.
I can put you on our Slack channel.
Yes, me too.
Okay. The queens will be at Diana.
I would love to volunteer.
Yes.
We'll be at Diana. But ARMISC, the Rocky Mountain Information Security Conference here in Colorado. I think it's in June this year.
Okay.
I have to look at the dates, but that's one of the bigger conferences in the Rocky Mountains. And there's so many of them. We can start putting that information out on our socials and whatnot, or do a follow-up episode where we talk about all the conferences and some goods and pros and cons to it. We could do that as another episode.
And also I'll put together a little resource list of kind of like a list of the big cons, what audience they're kind of aimed at, what you can kind of hope to glean, like if it's cloud, if it's hacker, if it's executive, and if they offer discounted or tag along tickets. I'll try and track some of that down for you. I'm going to be at, there's AWS reInvent, AWS Reignite, Forward Cloud Security. I'll probably go to DashCon with my buddies over at Datadog this year. They host a con every year called Dash. There's so many cons, you guys, like oodles of cons.
Yeah, there's so many.
We're all going to be at Uniting Women in Cyber because we love Debbie Reynolds and we believe so much. And the networking there is fan-fucking-tastic. Like that is single-handedly, like hands down, the most value-added con I attended last year was Uniting Women in Cyber. So come be an ally or come meet your fellow women. We will be there in force. We did just miss WISIS. WISIS just had their annual meeting in Colorado this year. Next year, it'll probably be around the same time. I think it's in early March, mid-March. So that one's done for the year. But I think they have smaller meetups throughout the year as well. So
Black Hat.
Somebody just put that WISIS next year is in Nashville in 2024. And
it is.
Your question about the free student tickets for people that are in high school, I have no idea. I think you have to be of age, but I don't know.
I think it depends if you're going to be 18 or not. Licensing things get involved, but yeah, there's definitely a number of avenues. There's definitely a tons. There's con overload. So if you're ever thinking of attending a con and you're not sure if you should, try to reach out to someone in your industry and ask if they would go or if they have gone and the value they got. We can try and advise, but I don't attend all the cons. There's like Security Blue Con. There are so many cons you could not possibly track or attend them all, or that would be your full-time job if you're Phil Wiley. I'm jealous, sir.
I'll just put out a LinkedIn poll today. We'll see what everybody thinks, what cons they would prefer going to and why.
Yeah.
That'd be excellent.
Yes.
All right.
I love that.
Well, we are coming to the end of the episode. We are going to have a jam-packed set of notes to go along with this one with a ton of resources coming out that we totally have time to make right now.
Yeah. Totally.
We just want to say thank you so much for hanging out with us today. Hope you learned something about cyber conventions. If you'd like a follow-up episode or if there are questions we didn't answer, please do let us know. We're happy to do a follow-up. Additionally, if you liked the content today, please like, share, and subscribe. It's absolutely free and the best way you can support us. Also, we need to start shouting this out more. We are all three a part of the nonprofit organization Teach Kids Tech. founded and run by Amber and Erica, co-run by me. And if you'd like to support getting technology and its educational resources to children in underprivileged communities, please go give us a follow there and look out for the work we're going to be doing there as well. This has been another episode of Cyber Queens. Thank you so much. We love you. We wish you success, and we will see you next week.
Yes. Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh, Erica and I did it. Amber missed it.
Hey, I tried
Amber
to do it.
missed
So
it.
it's
We'll
gonna be
do it next
somebody.
time. It's fine. It's
Gotta
fine.
be